Hello all! So, my question for you today is, have you ever come across that phrase, it's like putting lipstick on a pig? I love that phrase. I love the implication that if we slap some lipstick on a pig, we're going to make that pig more attractive. Of course, it's being ironic. It's not saying you really will, because pigs are just ugly. Unless, of course, you happen to be another pig, and I'm not judging pigs here. However, I don't really think that putting lipstick on any pig is going to make much of a difference one way or another. At least I presume that pigs don't care that much about lipstick, and it doesn't affect how they see other pigs. Also, isn't putting lipstick on a pig testing cosmetics on animals? Which is pretty unethical, isn't it, really? Anyway, I digress. I often feel like in my job I'm putting lipstick on the proverbial pig. Those moments when I'm asked to magically fix a fundamentally flawed product, service or interaction with the addition of some design magic, our proverbial lipstick. Take for example the form that I've mentioned previously, the form that was a train wreck and everybody knew it, that one. It had too many fields, poor validation and numerous other problems. Yet they wanted to use the magic of design to improve the number of people completing what was obviously a fundamentally flawed interaction. Another example was a project where the product itself was massively overpriced compared to the competition, and no amount of design is going to persuade people to purchase something that's almost twice the price of a comparable product. Or the website that I worked on that was so caught up in technical and compliance constraints that it was unable to change anything other than aesthetics, and they hoped that would be enough. Okay, so enough examples. This is just turning into a moan, but you get the idea. Design is expected to perform miracles, and my point is that changing a user interface or introducing a new design is often not going to be enough. You have to address the underlying problems. You have to change that pig. And this is the difference between being a UI designer and a UX designer. The former is going to work within the constraints that they're given, the constraints of the product. But a UX designer will address and challenge those underlying problems. But what do you do if you can't make the fundamental changes required? Well, to some extent, there's not a lot you can do. Yes, you can get creative, as I've said in the past, but that's not always going to work. All you can do in those situations is demonstrate the futility of what you're being asked to do and how much it is costing the organization to fail to address the underlying problem. Now, the way that I usually do that is to run a survey to demonstrate the extent of the problem. For example, I will ask users why they didn't act on the website, and I'll offer them a range of options, including that underlying issue. But I'll also put alongside that the user interface. And when I've used this approach, for example, on that overpriced product, sure enough, the number one reason by a significant margin that people failed to act was because of the price. The user interface, the design, barely registered in comparison to that. And based on my data that I got back from the survey, I could calculate the approximate number of lost customers the company was seeing every month because their product was overpriced. Did that change their minds? Well, no. But it did show that the changing of the design wouldn't fix the problem. And most importantly, if I'm being honest with you, I covered my arse. I provided evidence up front that what I was being asked to do would not work, so I couldn't be blamed when things went wrong. Now, I've realised that being forced to play these kinds of games is demoralising, and that if I'm being honest, today I'm not being particularly inspirational. I'm not giving you any magic answers, and I'm sorry about that. However, you're not going to win them all, and that's okay. So what am I trying to get across today? What message do I want you to take away? Well, if you're a designer, I want you to know that sometimes you're going to be asked to do the impossible and make that pig look attractive. And when you fail, that's not a reflection on you, and you shouldn't feel bad about it. And if you're somebody that works with designers, you need to recognize the limitations of design, that design is not magic. We can't work miracles, and sometimes you need to accept that it's time to replace the pig.